Yo, how's it going? YouTube, back in a video, and today we are going to be talking about how the Cleveland Cavaliers could be potentially revolutionizing the game of basketball in the NBA. Now, I know when you think of the Cleveland Cavaliers, you don't exactly think of a revolutionary style of play or them changing the NBA because they're Cleveland, and not much happens in Cleveland unless LeBron is there, and LeBron hasn't been there for the past few years. So I do think for sure this could be coming as a little bit of a surprise to a lot of basketball fans that are watching this video. But I'm going to be getting into how I think that the Cleveland in a few years could be an extremely scary team and maybe even be changing the way teams build their rosters going into the future of the NBA. Kind of similar to how Golden State changed the NBA just a few years ago when they had that dynasty team. So I'm going to get into a few reasons why I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers are really just trailblazing a path right now and how it could really lead to something very, very special. So if you do like the video at any point, hit the like button and subscribe button. That would mean the absolute world to me. And without further ado, without rambling on too much, just get right into this video. Now, the main way I think that they are changing the NBA is their anti-small ball lineup, or at least that's what I'm calling it. They may have different names for it, but what I'm calling it is the anti-small ball lineup. And now what I mean by this is that in today's NBA, almost every team wants as much three-point shooting and quickness on their team, and in result of that, usually that makes a lack of a need for a big man, because big men are usually slower, they get exposed on perimeter defense more often, and it makes it very hard to have a center when you want to run and gun, shoot threes, and just play as quickly as possible. And really, since like I said earlier, the Golden State Warriors dynasty team, this has been the main way teams have tried to build their roster. They want to replicate what Golden State did going into the future for their own teams. So that resulted in teams going very guard heavy, really not focusing that much on guard play, and really just trying to be as quick as possible, shoot the most threes, make the most threes, be the best perimeter defending team. And it really has shown, as a lot of the teams in the NBA go for that strategy, and I mean probably dang near 90% of the teams are building their team around that type of mold, and that's what they're going for. But with the lineup that the Cleveland Cavaliers have been rolling out this season, they're kind of doing almost the exact opposite. And now, before I do get into their actual lineup, let's say why what they're doing usually doesn't work. As the reason that this fast-paced guard-centric lineup is so effective is because it completely and utterly just hurts teams that are more slow-paced and everything like that, because big men are so unusually, the average big man is so just not offensively talented enough to make up the difference, and then they're also getting exposed on the perimeter. So although it is harder to guard big men with a smaller lineup, it's still to a point to where most big men are not offensively talented enough to make the difference. So then they get exposed on defense and plus can't score all that much, so the small ball lineup just usually really exceeds any team that tries to use a big man against it. But what the Cleveland Cavaliers are managing to do right now is very, very interesting, because if you do look at their guard situation and their starting five, it's not any different. I mean, they're starting two 6'1" guards in Collin Sexton. Collin Sexton's a very solid scorer, mainly a score-first type guy, and then at shooting guard, they have Darius Garland, who is more the playmaker, passes the ball around, scores you about 12-13 points a game. Both are solid guards, but neither one of them are big or revolutionary in any way. When their starting lineup starts to get interesting is when you start looking at their small forward through center positions, as when they're fully healthy, their starting small forward is 6'11" Lauri Markennen. Now, Lauri Markkanen himself is not that special of a player. Yes, he's a 6'11" player, he can expand the floor, and he is kind of nimble for his size. He's kind of athletic as well. He's a very good shooter for his size, and that's his main thing. He helps floor space at the big man position. But what Chicago never did, they never even thought about playing him at the small forward position because they thought he was too slow, and like I said, they want quickness and just perimeter defense and stuff like that. Usually that's how they want to build their team. But with Cleveland, they moved him to the small forward, and that makes him by far the tallest small forward in the entire NBA right now. And also, he's just a very solid player because he shoots the ball very good and is as well just kind of efficient as well when it comes to his shooting. But like I said, it's small forward through really the center position, and Lauri Markennen is just really one part of that, because then if you even look at their power forward, they have another 6'11" rookie in Evan Mobley, and Evan Mobley is a huge part of this scheme because he is really one of those unicorn type players. He's a 6'11" center pretty much, and most of the time or power forward, but he can also dribble the ball. He has a very good handle for his size. He has a very good shot for his size, and he's just very agile and very, very nimble for how big he is. And then on top of that, you add the 7'4" wingspan that he has. Well, that really adds some things to the table and gives him the ability to really keep up with other smaller, quicker people on the perimeter while still being offensively talented enough to kill any smaller people that are trying to guard him. And then at the center position, you have Jarret Allen, who's also 6'11", 243 pounds. So although not being 7 foot is still almost a 7 foot center, and then you also add that he's 243 pounds, he's a very big guy. Now, although he does lack the floor spacing the other two have, he makes it up in efficiency as he's averaging 14 points per game on 68% shooting from the field, which is unbelievably efficient from anyone in the NBA, including a center. So although he does lack the floor spacing, he is so efficient it really doesn't matter. Then you add that he's also an elite rim protector and also nimble enough to keep up with anyone on the perimeter. Now you have a problem for a lot of teams that try to go small ball, because you have 3 very talented offensive big men starting, and then also they can hold their own defensively. So that is very scary, because now all 3 of them are going to have probably smaller people guarding them outside of Jarret Allen, and Jarret Allen is so efficient it doesn't matter who's guarding him. And then you have Evan Mobley, so with his handle and how he has a little bit of an above average shot for his size, a lot of other big men struggle to guard Evan Mobley. Lauri Markennen with his shot, same thing. It's harder to guard a guy with a shot. He spreads the floor so much, and it just opens the floor up for their guards and even Evan Mobley and Jarret Allen. So although Jarret Allen is really the only player on that team that cannot shoot a 3 ball at least consistently when he's wide open, the floor is so spaced out, he's getting one-on-one situations, which makes him extremely efficient and still offensively talented enough to stay on the floor at all times. And then, like I said, Evan Mobley, same thing. The floor is so spaced, he can get whatever he wants against most power forwards. Lauri Markennen, there to space the floor, and then their 2 guards are pretty much just there to shoot the 3, spread the floor more, and pass it to their big men. And this is such a problem because small ball lineups that used to rely on quickness to get around the big men no longer can use that, because their big men on Cleveland is just as fast and way more lengthy than them, and then offensively they can't guard them because they're not big enough. And the only way to counter that if you're another team is to put your big men on the floor, but your big men are most likely not quick enough to keep up with the Cavs, and they usually don't have 3 6'11" guys to just put in there that are talented enough to play how the other team is playing, and it just makes matchup nightmares for many other teams when going against the Cleveland Cavaliers. So the main reason this is so revolutionary is because with how most coaches' mindsets are of smaller lineups but faster and quicker, better 3-point shooting, now Cleveland has completely twisted that around, and they said bigger lineups that do take a little bit of a hit on 3-point shooting, but not drastically to the point to where their scoring falls off. But then they're so big that they can dominate the paint, dominate the boards, and just dominate the inside presence, and it makes it very hard for teams to score on the inside against them. And that is huge because now you make them into a one-dimensional team, and we've seen that strategy work, as that is exactly what the Milwaukee Bucks do. The Milwaukee Bucks have no problem giving up a ton of 3-pointers, but you will not score in the paint against them is their mindset, and they just won an NBA championship. So now that Cleveland is implementing that strategy but on steroids with their big man lineup, well, now you could be really cooking with something, and if they get a better bench, maybe a few better guards, this team could be a legit very scary playoff team in the extremely near future. And I think they have a chance of really revolutionizing how people draft, how they build teams, and how they really just look at NBA basketball for years to come. So I want to hear our thoughts in the comment section below. Do you agree with me? Do you think Cleveland could be changing the NBA? I want to hear our thoughts in the comment section below. Please comment anything that you're thinking right now. It would mean the world to me, and I really wanted to see what y'all have to say. And also, hope you have a blessed day. Have a blessed day. So you need to have a blessed day. All glory to God. See you in the next video. Goodbye. Boo. Blah, blah, blah.